Hello, my name is Bred Jones. I'm the chair of the music department at the University of Wisconsin-Superior, and I'm sitting here at the studio of KUWS with a wonderful trio of musicians, the Shalom Trio, who will be performing tomorrow night for a part of the university recital series. And we're going to conduct a little interview and get to hear a little bit more about the musicians and the music that they make. So my first question would be, could you please each introduce yourselves and tell us just a little bit about yourself and the instrument that you play?
Hi, my name is Ranendra Kumar Das. I play tabla, which is North Indian percussion instrument in Shalom Trio.
Hi, I am Abhik Mukherjee. I am a sitar player in Shalom Trio.
Hi, Brett. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Jessie Reagan-Mann. I play the cello, and I also sing, and I'm the cellist of the Shalom Trio.
Excellent. We're so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. So I teach world music, and I love performing in different styles, of course, Western classical music being one of those. But my question first was, when and how did the three of you come together and bring together this Shalom Trio as a concept?
When I first, I went to University of Bridgeport, studied music performance, and first when I did, enter the music and like a world music ensemble, and first I heard cello. I always thought I want to do something. It was so grabbing. It's like my mind was less melted. That was 1999, and I said I want to do something. So I was searching, and 2010 when I met Obik, sitar player, then I talked to him about it, and I said, why not? Let's do something. Make something new music. I said let's do the Indian and Western classical to create new music, and that's where thought process started. Then we met Jesse, and we started to, bringing both, try to bring these two like a tradition together, Western and Indian classical, and we started talking, having a conversation, and that started.
Excellent. So given the name Shalom, in what ways does peace enter into the vision and mission of the ensemble?
Well, peace as a matter of bringing religion into it, or without the religion? What are we talking about here?
I would say any way that you can conceptualize the trio.
Okay.
Yes.
See, if we consider as music as a whole, we consider as God created us, and we created religion, we created music. So, and as a matter of fact, music was created in praise of God. So religion was a part of it, because most of the music, what we had started, both Western and Eastern, in praise of God, and went through religion. So it has definitely some roots in religion in both aspects. But when religion talks about, particularly in these days, let's keep that religion part aside, music has always talked about peace.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what our band is all about. The Jewish music and Indian music combined together, any combination where it happens, there should be peace.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Can each of you give a little background information about your musical education and heritage, some of the roots that you bring to the trio?
Let's start with you then.
Sure. I started playing the cello when I was 2.5, and I have a very patient mother. Now that I have children, I know that she's a very patient mother. And actually, as an unorthodox way of studying the cello, I didn't read music until much, much later. And so I learned to play by ear for many years. And it wasn't until later that was actually a really big gift. So, of course, I can read music now, but being able to kind of dance in between this idea of being able to play by ear and being able to use written music has been a really big gift. And of course, then I went to conservatory. But in terms of musical styles and background, it wasn't until I started studying Baroque music that I started improvising.
Sure.
So it's been a really nice blend.
Excellent.
I started when I was 6. I should not say that I started because my dad gave a sitar to me, and this is what you're going to play. You know, when you grew up in India and at that age of 6, you don't have any thing to exert your individuality. You know, so you're given an instrument and here you go. So that's how I started. So in the beginning, I hated the instrument. So after 3 or 4 years, you know, after practicing, I fell in love with the instrument. And later on, it was becoming difficult for my parents to separate me from the instrument. So that was another struggle which went on. So that's how it went on. So and now here I am. And like Jessie, she started without reading music. I started without reading music, and still I am illiterate in that sense.
I started when I was 4. Since I grew up in suburban in Bangladesh, which is a lot of local musicians used to come to our house, having it to like a tea party sort of. They all get together, have tea, and sing music like Tagore songs or folk songs.
Sure.
And I always drawn to the tabla sound. And you know, they're having fun, and I'm just banging the drums. And then my father, whatever he knew, he taught me. Then later on, I went to different gurus and studied. But my process was learning orally.
Sure.
And since I came here, I studied with the actual, like a really classical Indian music. But I went to University of Bridgeport to study Western classical. I was always drawn to it, especially jazz. Then I learned the sight reading and all this you do. Most university conservatory, so I go between sight reading and the oral.
Right.
So, as you can see, I'm the most illiterate between the band. Okay.
No,
he acts as the liaison officer between me and her to communicate.
Oh boy.
That's excellent. So the trio is going to be great to hear tomorrow night, but I know as professional musicians, you each have your own interests and own little projects, as we all do as musicians. So could you tell us a little bit about your individual personality and interests as musicians?
Well, I am a solo performer, but in Indian music, as we say, soloist, but always there is accompaniment by the tabla or pakhawaj, for instance, So I generally perform solos and sometimes duets, sometimes trios, and now also trios, obviously. And I have been playing a little bit with jazz, because on 27th and 28th I will be playing a jazz ensemble, paying a tribute to John Coltrane's and Alice Coltrane's song.
Oh, great!
So this is how it goes on.
Great.
On and off. And I do teach. And I teach from a school called Chandayan in New York City, and I also teach from home. So this is how it goes on.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
that reminds me of the John Coltrane piece, India, which
India, yes.
Yes.
Actually, that's one of the number that we are playing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Quite a few number of Indians are playing in India.
That's funny. I play a whole bunch of different styles of music. It's I like to say that I play great music.
Yeah.
So I play a lot of Jewish music. Actually, I play a lot of liturgical music in synagogues and prayer accompaniment. I've been singing more, so that's been a nice combination. I've started composing for a solo project, which you'll hear a little bit of tomorrow.
Great.
Which I adapted for the trio. And I play with some really big pop artists as well. I was on the Adele tour, and
Awesome.
so a pretty big mix of different styles of music, Middle Eastern and some classical. And
Great.
I play with, of course, solo plus accompanying with sitar or different Indian instrumentalist or vocalist. But I also played with jazz musician Williamsburg Jazz Festival many years ago. But I also compose, try to bring the folk music tradition from Bangladesh and try to expose to the world the rich tradition we have. And you get to hear tomorrow some of the folk music, like a sort of Bela Bartok, which I'm very inspired by him. And
Sure.
so I try to bring that aspect, like a sort of Indian and classical, Western classical way, just to expose to the Bangladeshi folk music to the world.
That's great. That's a great gift to the musical community.
I hope so. Trying my best.